If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With the all-new Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from good to excellent. Introducing the new Sleep Score on Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
REI Co-op presents a perfect outdoor moment with the perfect gift. Picture this. You're ripping with your favorite person. Bluebird skies, blower powder, and frankly, you're skiing like legends.
So sick. Another lap?
Thanks to REI's curation, from lid to sticks, you nailed the gift.
No way. How'd you know?
Does it get more perfect than that? Give without guessing. Shop in store or visit rei.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, heroes and crooks, non-binary listeners, Ken Ober and Charles Foster Kane, the audio performance you are about to enjoy discusses casinos and gambling. We do not recommend gambling with money you cannot afford to lose or that is needed to pay bills. If you have a gambling problem, contact your problem gambling hotline. If you do not know how to contact your problem gambling hotline, send an email to help@casinocombat.com. We will find that number for you and provide it to you. Our host's past performances are not indicative of anyone's future results, including his own. All materials presented here are based on actual facts. Names and dates are changed to protect the innocent and the guilty. Some events unrelated to outcomes may be omitted in the interest of brevity and clarity. It's me, it's TRG, the Ramblin Gambler, evolutionary, revolutionary, charismatic, and enigmatic as they come in the world of casino gambling. I found I will not mess around. Unless I play, then hey, I will go on all day. Hear what I say, I have a prayer to pray. That's really all this was. And when I'm feeling stuck and need a buck, I don't rely on luck because the hook brings you back. And I'm very grateful that it does bring you back. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to episode 121 of our Casino Combat podcast. Not my podcast, not your podcast, our podcast. If this is your first time, if you just discovered this little corner of the potosphere, the term potosphere is copyright TRG and Casino Combat. All rights reserved, and no part of it is spelled with a K. If you just stumbled upon us, we are glad you are here. I'm going to do most of the talking today, but this particular episode is very much a group effort. I am just acting as the voice of the squad. Let me tell you what we are all about. We are all about winning the game of casino gambling. We are about getting to the end of the trip, or the month, or the quarter, or the year, and having more value out of the casino or a set of casinos than we provided to said casinos. In a perfect world, that means we enter with X dollars and we exit with X plus more dollars. In a less perfect world, we exit with less than we entered with, but we received more in comps and gifts than we spent or lost. Here's the great news. If you are thinking, wait, what? This guy is a con artist. This guy is running a scam. First, it's tough to run a scam when you don't sell anything. And second, as I just mentioned, this isn't just me. There are others out there doing the same thing, staying in free hotel rooms, taking free cruises, eating free meals, seeing free shows, and doing all of that because they are good at the game of casino gambling. Episode 120 was light on the teaching and the how-to parts of things. I took a bit of a different course and talked about the what and the why more than the how. But I also said we'd quickly get back to teaching and preaching, and that's what we're going to do today. And the squad has stepped up and contributed in a big way to that process. Here's what the battle plan for the episode looks like. I do have some squad news to cover, and then I'm going to do a questions the squad asks segment. Excelsior Brigade member and YouTube personality Dave Same Bet Carlin recorded and sent an excellent question that I'm going to respond to. I'm going to do a travel segment and discuss 2 weeks of gambling that included trips to Casino One and Atlantic City, but more importantly shows the ups and downs of winning the game of casino gambling. We're going to finish up with some time in the virtual VIP lounge where I have a great story about a pit boss interaction that took place at the Borgata Casino in Atlantic City. Along the way, be prepared. Somewhere between now and the moment when Casino Combat Blues plays, stand back, there's an ambush coming through. I'm going to do a Core Koncepts segment and share a new bubble crap strategy that ECE remixed from a YouTube blackjack strategy. He did some testing. I did some testing. Nakatomi Tony did a bunch of testing. Now, full disclosure, we have hundreds of data points, not thousands, not tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, but over 100 tries. We have a high success rate. Nakatomi Tony saw greater than 80% wins testing on Crapsy. He graphed everything, and we posted it as a preview on our social media. So somewhere in this episode, the ambush will be sprung. Darn, I just did it. I mentioned social media. Nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing the begging for likes, shares, subscribes, creator thing. I don't care if I've transgressed the unwritten law. Don't care if the Council of Elders finds me. I'm not going to do that part today. I'll pay the fine. So let's do squad news. Big squad news. We have a new Excelsior Brigade member. Someone else has taken up the quest and been successful at determining the real world name of our home casino, Casino 2. If you want to know what that's all about, if you want to play the game, it's covered in episode 22. But this episode, we welcome the newest member of the brigade, MC Rolling Checks. And just to prevent any confusion, this is checks, spelled with a Q, like casino chips are called checks, the French spelling of the word, if you will. So not like bouncing checks at a bank, but this is rolling checks. MCRC came through town recently, and we got to hang out a bit at my local casino, even played a little blackjack together at one point. He's been putting in the time to learn the game of blackjack and to practice TRG4 Win More, Keep More, which you can download from the website CasinoCombat.com in the Fred section. It was great to hang out with him, hear about his gambling journey, hear about his life, his plans, and I'm happy to report he had a successful day using the Casino Combat arsenal at my local casino. The other bit of squad news is a bit embarrassing for me. We had dinner with Inner Circle member Equine Ensign, ninth to the ring, when we were in Atlantic City. This was just after episode 119 published, and I had talked about not being able to take down a field bet on a bubble craft machine without taking down an original don't pass bet. So during dinner, E Squared says, "You know you can drag those bets off, don't you?" I didn't. I didn't know. I mean, I knew you could drag chips around on the layout. Mrs. TRG does that sometimes. Our Padawan learner did that when I was around once or twice. It's just not a way I ever used those machines. I tend to use the interface by tapping like I would use a phone or a tablet. I tap the chip I want to wager, then I tap the place I want the chip to go. I tap the button on the screen to take bets down or double the bet, those types of things. It always seemed like the easiest way to use the machine. Now, I have often said, I don't know everything about gambling, I just want to. Well, here's a great example of something I did not know. I have done some testing. Locally, the machines that will let you take down a field bet by tapping the button and leaving the don't pass bet up will let you drag the field bet off as well. The one that will not let you take it down with the button will not let you drag it off either. So, more examples of machines that look the same being set up differently. I'm really grateful for squad mates teaching me what I don't know. And speaking of squad, I have a great squad question, so let's do a question segment next.
What?
Normally I tell you that my sons ask questions about gambling, but today we have a real treat. Not only did a squad mate send a question, he recorded the question and sent over the file so I could include his question in his words for all of you. So let's hear what the founding member of the Excelsior Brigade, Same Bet, wanted to talk about today.
Hey there, TRG. So you know that blackjack is not my primary game. I've started practicing it, I've started getting into it, and I've actually played it in the casino once. My question really comes around to how do we practice? I've got my deck of cards, I've got some chips here, I've got my cheat sheets, and I sit down at the table and I run through the scenarios. My question is, should I be practicing with multiple decks, does that make a difference? Should I be cutting out part of the decks like they would in a real table? So if I have 4, 5, 6 decks that I'm playing with, do I put that card in? Do I cut out some of them? Does that make a difference in my practice? And lastly, should I be playing with multiple hands to simulate multiple players at the table? Not that I would be betting on these others, but I'd be burning their hands just as if they were at a real table. So how should I be practicing blackjack? Thanks, DRG.
This is an excellent question or set of questions. I tend to practice and teach with 2 decks of cards and a cut card taking out about half a deck at the end. Or I just eyeball the deck and declare last hand before dealing. It's not real money. No one is counting cards. It seems to work just fine. From a teaching learning point of view, a 6-deck shoe would probably be optimal to get someone comfortable with the flow of the game before they go into an actual casino. But here is the honest truth and the real secret. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Play all the way to the bottom of one deck and shuffle. Play a 6-deck shoe and cut out half. Add extra hands or don't add extra hands. The outcomes are not going to change. Play blackjack on a regular basis. Learn to keep your emotions out of it, which is by no means easy. I'm not saying that it is, but do that, and over time you will see it all comes down to the 3 cards you see, the correct basic strategy play, and the bet you make in response to the outcome of the hand. How these first 3 cards and the cards you and the dealer draw are organized really does not matter over the long run. Perhaps let me position that thought a bit differently. In terms of the success or the failure of the strategy. In terms of seeing and understanding how the strategy works, as long as the hands are generated from a deck or multiple decks of 52 cards, the process will generate chip movements and positive or negative exits, just as they will occur over time in a real casino. Sitting at your kitchen table, you can lose 7 in a row, shuffle to create a new table, and then lose another 7 in a row. That can happen in a casino as well. Or you can get blackjack after blackjack after blackjack, which also happens in a casino. In terms of learning blackjack basic strategy and the application of TRG4, win more, keep more, and seeing it and the meta martingale in action, how the hands are created does not matter in my experience. Now, having said that, for someone with no casino experience and no blackjack experience, fully recreating as much of the casino process as possible may have plenty of real-world value. Understanding the flow of the game, buying in, interacting with a dealer, handling chips, all of those things may make that first outing less nerve-wracking, but in terms of how the strategy works, it doesn't matter. Now, Same Bet's question aligns with one Nakatomi Tony asked me when we were hanging out in Atlantic City. He was asking how to learn basic strategy. I'm even going to take that one step further and combine it with some things our Padawan learner has asked, some answers that I've given to him. Let's address all of this as one big question beyond the mechanics of practice. How do you go about learning to play blackjack before entering a casino? When I learned basic strategy, I worked in an office building with 42 floors, and my job involved moving between floors all day to move computers, fix computers, answer questions, demonstrate things, etc. I used index cards to create a deck of flashcards with each basic strategy decision on it. The 3-card combination on the front of the card, the correct play on the back of the card. I kept those in my jacket pocket. When I was waiting on or riding an elevator, I would go through flashcards. After I'd gone through them several times, I started eliminating the ones I always got right. The easy and obvious ones. My hand is a hard 20. Stay. Put that card away. I don't need to practice that anymore. Gradually, I was just drilling a couple of combinations that I had trouble remembering. And I started to see the internal logic of the correct play. I started to understand why the right play was the right play. With all the computers and devices we have today, there are plenty of apps and websites, free and paid, that will let you drill blackjack hands and correct basic strategy. Those can have real value as well. In fact, let's put that aside. I'll come back to a TRG story about that in just a minute. I think I've told it before, and it's perhaps a bit embarrassing, but what the heck. I'll share that again in a minute to wrap up, but let's cover one other training technique first. People often feel uncomfortable at a blackjack table if they do not play their hands quickly. It's understandable, I guess, but anyone who makes you feel that way is really just kind of an idiot, and you can ignore them, but it's a natural way to feel. You've got a lot going on, a hand to play, in some cases chips to move, a wagering system to remember, social interactions to do. It may take a minute. Look, they can wait or leave. That's not really your issue, but that's a cold, calloused old man's point of view. When you're starting out, you can feel a lot of anxiety around this, and one of the best things you can learn is to count your hand quickly as the cards come out. Both your first 2 cards and the cards you draw if you hit. You can develop a skill around this without actually playing the game in any way if you just take a deck of cards and pull off the top 2 and add them, including both 1 and 11 for an ace. So you draw 2 cards and think 8 or 18 when you have a 7 and an ace, or 9 when you pull a 4 and a 5. And you just go through the entire deck, 2 cards at a time, shuffle and repeat. You're not actually playing the hands, you're just learning to quickly add 2 cards, any 2 cards. And when you get really good at that, start making it 3 cards instead and do the same thing. Now at this stage, you want to look for 2 cards that combine to a total of 10 or 11 if that exists, and then add the other cards in. That's how many dealers evaluate hands quickly. Find the 8 and 2 for 10 and add whatever cards are left. If you can do 3 cards quickly, do 4 cards. At the point where you can handle that, you will find the same process much easier at a real table. Those 2 skills, quickly knowing the correct basic strategy play and being able to total your hand quickly, will slow the game down for you. When those are natural and easy, your brain has more time to manage the chips and the wagering system and be social and all those other things. Great questions from various parts of the squad. Honestly, a topic that probably belonged in episode 18 or something like that, but certainly a great set of questions. To circle back quickly to a story about learning basic strategy with a computer, for about a year after I graduated from college, Mrs. TRG and I were engaged, but lived a couple of hours apart while she finished her degree. We were going to go to Las Vegas for our honeymoon, and I was working on learning basic strategy, doing those flashcards as I explained earlier. Now, sometimes on a Friday, I would go to happy hour with coworkers after work, and when others headed out for the true bar scene from there, I'd make an excuse and head home. I'd intentionally quickly have a couple of extra drinks to reach a point where I was certainly intoxicated, a point at which it would not have been safe to drive home, and I'd sit down at an old Macintosh computer and use what today we would call an app to drill basic strategy. If I played a hand correctly, I got a little hooray, and it would move on to the next hand. If I played it wrong, it would play a little ba-ba song and show me the correct play. Casino wisdom number 3 teaches us, don't drink and gamble, or be well prepared to do so. I got married in the late 80s. I invented that casino wisdom before I got married. That's how long I've been working on all of this. But I drilled basic strategy sober and intoxicated. And an app was a much better way to handle the drilling while intoxicated part. I only had to play the hands, not shuffle the cards, deal the cards, add the hands, etc. I only had to play the hands and get that part down. Let's put that all down as a young man's stupidity that an old man appreciates having the benefits of. I am not suggesting that that is a great idea. I suggest you follow casino wisdom number 3, but there is a great deal of wisdom in that. Don't drink and gamble. Certainly don't try to navigate TRG Wagering System 4 and the Meta Martingale and Basic Strategy and Strangers at a Blackjack Table when you're just starting to try to put all of this together for the first few tries. If you have some success, then reward yourself with a beer or a glass of wine for a job well done after the session is over. If you think for some reason that you want to try to master this skill later in your journey, be my guest. I'm not saying I don't do it. I'm not saying I can't do it, but it is a very advanced skill. All right. We did a bunch of travel. I saw two sides of the same coin in an interesting and educational way, so the travel segment is next. You may recall that I ended August of 2023 with a set of losing days, even though we had a nice win for the month. I was fortunate that one of those losses was not a full Tier 3 loss because my time roll started running short and I got a bit bored and said, I'm going home. The month is over. It's fine. I've also mentioned in the past that the first of the month is always a bit of an anxious day for me because I have to start over and I have to produce again. Add in that we were starting the month with a trip to Casino 1, which is about 2 hours south and east of our home, for 2 comped nights, some free slot play, and some match bets, and I sat down at that first table ready to get a quick win, start things off right before going to dinner, and well, of course, the exact
An ambush!
We will get back to the travel segment. The results are important, and we had a lot of fun. But I want to share Dr. ECE's Bubble Craps ambush strategy with you this episode. Of course, we need the story about the strategy before we get to the strategy. Several months ago, Dr. ECE found a video on YouTube by Al Kaufman, the gambling professor. I'm guessing based on the wardrobe, the shots of the strip that are introing it, the lighting that was used, the framing of the recording, I'm guessing it was originally released on VHS tape. The gambling professor had a blackjack strategy to share for hit and run play on the strip. And he certainly is coming from a point of view where you could play as you wanted for $5, 3-2 blackjack, most places on the strip. Now, I took one look at the strategy when ECE sent it over and quickly decided it was junk. No disrespect to the professor. He was a professional in teaching gambling when I wasn't even old enough to gamble based on what I'm seeing on the recording. But looking at what he had to offer, I quickly said, this is garbage. His approach was to ignore all blackjack basic strategy, splits, and doubles. And if you do that, you are handing the house a huge additional advantage. And then he was going to do a really aggressive martingale after each loss. Win a few hands in a row, or win a few sequences of hands in a row, make some money, and head to the next casino. He had to skip all the splits and doubles and give a bunch of advantage back to the house, or otherwise his really aggressive martingale would get out of control and fall apart and be above the table max really quickly. It wasn't going to work. Or maybe I shouldn't say it wasn't going to work. It would have worked until it didn't, like almost anything, and you'd take big losses, but you're going to lose blackjack at a much higher rate than you should by skipping all the places where the advantage really lies with the player. It is not a way I was going to be willing to play blackjack. Certainly not at the $25 a hand or more the strip currently requires. But Dr. ECE pretty quickly got me back on track, saying, ignore the blackjack and the house advantage. Think about bubble craps and the math and the table minimums and machine maximums, or machine minimums and maximums that we currently see in a lot of casinos. So I took another look, and I appreciate the sage counsel that ECE provided. The underlying math contains a brilliant application of the logic of the martingale and is well suited to the minimums and maximums offered by bubble craps in a lot of casinos. Here's the logic of the math and then the math itself. A traditional martingale works like this. If you make a bet and lose, bet double what you lost. Eventually, with no table maximum to deal with, you have to win a wager, and when you do, you will have all of your original funds back and a profit of 1 unit. Of course, that's why casinos have a table maximum as well as a table minimum, but Mr. Kaufman's system changes this by having you not just double what you have lost, but double it and add 1 more unit. So when you finally win, you will, for all practical purposes, have won all the previous bets you made. If you've lost 3 in a row and then win, have what you started with plus an additional 4 units. As I said, like winning all of the bets, not just winning a bet. So the bet sequence goes something like this. Bet 1, lose, bet 3, lose, bet 7, then 15, then 31, then 63, then 127, then 255. With each bet, your possibility of winning does not change. The odds are still the odds, but your probability of winning becomes quickly greater than 99% as you make the final few bets. Given the minimums and maximums on some bubble craps machines, you could even extend this further and go to 511, 1023, and 2047 if you have nerves of steel and almost $5,000 that you're willing to run through a bubble craps machine. As a martingale-based strategy, you have to accept that no matter the 99+% probability that you will win that $2,047 bet, there is still the possibility of a loss, and you have to decide as a player how big a loss you are willing to take when things do eventually fail. Personally, I'm not willing to risk over $4,000 to win $10. But at a lower negative exit point, a much lower negative exit point than 2047, this is an attractive bankroll building strategy or additional strategy to go along with regular card play or as just a hangout strategy at a lower limits craps table. At a $10 craps table, this can work out, as I said, as a hangout strategy, try to win a few bucks strategy. Your max loss if you go 4 deep is $260. A lot for some of you, not a lot for some of you. Everybody has to make that decision for themselves. But as a bankroll builder, or I guess I should have said this, Dr. ECE's approach, I really like this, right? He was telling me, we're getting ready to go home. She's getting ready and I'm going to need to tip the valet $5. So I'm going to play this at the $1 level just until I won $5 and covered the tip. He's using it as an expense covering tool as part of his regular casino visits and blackjack play. A lot of clever ways to use this, and he certainly has found at least one, if not more than one. The gambling professor has come up with a really clever application of the martingale ideas here. That part I like a lot. This is in fact an approach that conforms to the core concepts of casino combat. When applied to the bubble craps don't pass line, the house advantage is very small. In fact, once a point is set, the advantage mathematically actually switches to the player. We can have a bankroll of money appropriate to the wager we're going to make, and we can calculate that bankroll. The entire process is strongly regressive. There are ways to add a progressive element. We can clearly set positive and negative exit points. My local casino does provide tier credits for bubble craps play. There's a lot to like once we've moved this away from blackjack and on to craps or bubble craps. At that point, it conformed to the core concepts. I could see the application. We checked all the boxes I wanted to test. The question then becomes, what is the appropriate positive and negative exit points? What are those real numbers? And those numbers are entwined with each other in an interesting way. The lower the positive number, the greater your chance of success. One is easy, infinity is impossible, as we've discussed. The higher the negative exit point, the greater your chance of success, but more successful tries are needed to offset the inevitable loss when you do reach that negative number. So the hypothesis was that there is a balance point of positive and negative exit numbers where a profit can be achieved over extended tries. A balance where the money lost after a failed attempt is more than recovered by the number of positive results. And I fairly quickly decided I was comfortable with a negative exit of 4 bets lost in a row. That's 1, plus 3, plus 7, plus 15, 26 units lost in total. I did some tests with a positive exit of 10 units. Things were choppy and inconclusive at best. I think we saw that the first month I tried it, I took a small loss. I had a lot of nice wins, but the losses were often too big to overcome. As I said, we saw that in August. Nakatomi Tony ran 100 tries that way a couple of times and had some amazing successes and some overwhelming failures. We dialed things in a bit more. A 6-unit positive exit strategy with a half-unit 1-chip exit produced wins more than 80% of the time and profits of approximately 100 units per 100 tries. Let's talk through that again. A 6-unit positive exit strategy. 6 units positive, 4 losses in a row, 26 units negative. A half-unit 1-chip exit strategy produced wins just a bit more than 80% of the time and profits of approximately 100 units per 100 tries. Pick your unit size, calculate your bankroll, get to work. This is certainly an easy moneymaker. No blackjack basic strategy to know, no complicated bets on the craps table to know, one bet, don't pass, no dealers or players to interact with if you do this at a machine. In many places, machine minimums are very, very low. There are many things to like about this system. Many things to like. This is a very playable system in a variety of ways. Let's talk through how this looks at a $1 bubble craps machine. Buy in for $26. Bet $1 on the don't pass. Keep pressing the button to roll the dice until the wager resolves. Win, you have $27. Make the same bet again. Lose, make a 3-unit regressive wager. If you win, you have $29 and you start over with a 1-unit wager. If at any point you bet 1 and lose, bet 3 and lose, bet 7 and lose, and bet 15 and lose, you have reached a negative exit and you're done. Cash out any money that remains in the machine and record your results. If you reach a total in the machine of $32, you are done. Print your ticket, record your results. Obviously, at a $5 or $10 unit size, you would multiply everything accordingly. Your buy-in, your wagers, all of that. Those would be units, not dollars. And at these larger units, you can add a progressive side by adding $1 or $2 to the wager after you win 3 bets in a row. That does not happen very often, but I have seen it happen and I have done it. And you can also do a 1-chip exit at these larger unit sizes. You can make a $2 or $3 wager and keep adding $1 after each win and walk away after the first loss. A standard 1-chip wager. A very playable system, a very easy system, easy to keep track of. You don't really need to have you have a win stack in the sense that you will know when you hit the right number to cash out. You will see your positive exit on the machine's display, but you don't really need to keep a win stack per se because the exit is built in. You don't need to track the play stack and the win stack. You just know if I do 1, 3, 7, 15 and don't win any of them, I'm done. Simple as that. But here's the disclaimer. I'm comfortable sharing all this. ECE and Nakatomi Tony put a lot of effort into sorting this out. I played it enough to be comfortable playing it. I even played it at a $10 unit size in Atlantic City with Equine Ensign and Mrs. TRG, the Radiant Goddess of Casino Combat. But we don't have enough data to have a meaningful sample size. ECE and TNI have hundreds of attempts logged, but not thousands, not tens of thousands. That will take time and experience. The other thing that needs to be pointed out is that while 80% success for every 20 failures is amazing, truly amazing, the type of success almost any and every gambler would love to have, over time, 80 out of 100 is an amazing record to have. Tell someone you win 80% of the time and watch them walk away in disbelief, or nod politely and humor you, all while not believing you. If the math holds up over thousands of tries, this is an amazing money-making machine. It really, really is. ECE has done us a great service here and found something truly wonderful to add to the casino combat arsenal. But you could still put together a bankroll. Go play with a $1 unit size every day, Monday through Friday for a month, and lose $520 and win nothing. $26 a day lost, 20 tries in a month, $520, 20 straight losses, and all I could say to you, all Nakatomi Tony could say to you, all ECE could say to you is, the system is performing in a way that matches the expected math. 80 wins out of 100 is amazing, but it means there are 20 losses, and those 20 losses could come one after another. As tested so far, this is a simple and easy system, a winning system. But do anything long enough and you will see strange random things happen. You could, in fact, try this 20 times in a row and have 20 tries, and the system would still be doing exactly what we've seen it do. None of us have seen 20 losses in a row. We see patterns that make a lot more sense. We see patterns that fall in the I win 4 and I lose 1. I win 4 and I lose 1. 4-1, 4-1, 5, total of 10, 8 wins, 2 losses. But I can't tell you you're not going to get 20 in a row. Which is kind of where we left the travel segment. A random bit of bad stuff happening. And that's before the episode was ambushed. But now that I've shown you the ambush strategy, now that we've talked through it, now that you could go play it if you wished, let's get back to that travel segment. Where were we before the ambush? Oh yeah, sitting down, day 1, hoping for a quick win before dinner, and things not working out. Everything broke down. All the normal stuff didn't work. I couldn't win a hand. To make it worse, I would have larger bets out, split, then double, get good cards, and lose all the hands. Go up a tier in the meta martingale, and have the process repeat itself, including the losses. I got crushed. Mrs. TRG got crushed. We switched tables. We got crushed. We went to dinner. We went to the ATM machine. Had a drink at the bar. Lost again. Not really getting crushed. It took a while. And then lost some more. In total, I went through over 10 days' pay, and Mrs. TRG went through another 2 or 3, night 1 of a 2-day trip and day 1 of a new month. We had just ruined the month before just to add to everything else. Just that little extra is the knowledge that you just wrecked a whole month of success. Well, I'm saying to myself, you just wrecked an entire month of success. Now imagine, you're not me, but imagine this is your first attempt. Imagine you had practiced and prepared, paid for the room, convinced your spouse this would work, done everything right, and gotten these results. That would be horrible, and also, while very rare, don't think I've ever had it happen to me in the 3 years we've been doing this all together, but it's also normal. To say the least, I wasn't thrilled. But in the middle of that losing, in the middle of that night of nothing going right, as we were struggling later in the evening, not getting destroyed at every turn, but just struggling to stay in and get something going, as the cards are shuffled, my wife kisses me and says, "I'm not worried, you will win it all back." That's belief born of experience. Not every wife, not every spouse, not every partner would have that. I knew she was right. I knew I had lived through the opposite of this many, many times. I knew that it was unusual for the gambling gods to turn the difficulty up to impossible very often or for very long. The next day after brunch, we went to the bank and made a large withdrawal. Mrs. TRG went and enjoyed the pool. I focused on just trying to win a table and start the process of getting back on track. I wasn't going to fix everything at once. I couldn't summon the unicorn grove and make it happen. I just needed to start putting together some wins. I managed a winning table. I took a break. I took a small loss. I took a break. I had a small win. I took a break. I took a number of additional small controlled losses. We went to dinner. We talked through things. Mrs. TRG said, "I'm still not worried, but we can certainly just wrap up and head home after dinner if you want. It's not a long drive. We've done the things we came to do. I enjoyed the pool. It was a wonderful trip." And I said, no, there's no reason for that. But we had a trip coming up to Atlantic City, And if we didn't at least manage to hold our own at the next table, we needed to wrap up for the evening, listen to the live music, go watch a pay-per-view movie in the room, something else. We couldn't just keep taking beatings if we were getting ready to get on a plane. And hold our own we did, for an hour or two. Nothing more, nothing spectacular. We just managed to stay on the table with that buy-in and not hit a negative exit. Just regroup at the end of the shoe to the point where we had playable stacks again and keep trying. And then someone turned the difficulty mode from impossible all the way to easy, and we could do no wrong. The unicorn showed up, he brought the grove, he brought friends, and the winning was easy. Over the course of the next couple hours, we won and won and won. I set aside a reasonable win from my starting money, pushed the unit size up, and won some more. We finished the evening down just 1.5 days' pay for the trip. A very, very manageable negative from the trip. And we stopped on the way home and put the money back in the bank that we had taken out, and everything was fine and well set up to get on the plane and head out to Atlantic City. And I did some local gambling in the days in between. Picked up some gifts, picked up some gift cards, picked up some free things, played some free money. And we got on a comped chartered jet and headed to the Tropicana in Atlantic City for 3 nights. And of course, there were more free bets and more free slot play and comped meals. We roamed the city to other casinos and picked up additional comps and gifts. And you know what? That setting stayed the same. Everything stayed on easy mode. Whole trip. The entire trip. I did all those same things that didn't work on day one, and they all worked all the time. I won all the big hands. We didn't leave a single table without a profit. The entire trip. Not one blackjack table without a profit. I won amazing hands where I split 3 times and doubled twice with big money and won them all. We won over 18 days' pay over the course of a weekend. We also got to go to dinner with Equine Ensign, who came into town, and then play some craps together at the Tropicana. I got to see him going through a system that he's testing. E Squared had a winning evening, including getting a long run and a great tier credit bonus out of an old-time slot machine. The next day, we spent some time at resorts and ran into our African friend from our previous trip to Atlantic City. He was at another table, but was happy to see me. We had a big hug before sharing.
Nenge! Nenge Yomboko! From Cameroon! Do you remember me? It's Lionel Joseph.
Lionel! From the African Education Conference, right?
Yes, Simon! I was director of cultural events at the Haile Selassie Pavilion.
I remember the pavilion. We had big fun there.
As annoying as he was our first evening, it was really good to see him. It's great to come into a place and know people and feel like a regular, not a tourist. At least we enjoy that a great deal. And I do want to make one minor comment here. I'm not going to make more of this than it is, but I've had a couple of notes saying perhaps the African friend references are misplaced or poorly chosen. And my first reaction, honestly, is, oh, lighten up, Francis. Stop looking for a reason to be offended. But that said, I'm going to go a bit further. First of all, he introduced himself as both a friend and as someone from Africa. He emphasized it. He repeated it. And while I usually allow you, the gentle listener, to sort out pop culture references on your own, or miss them entirely, this also comes from a place of love, reverence, and respect. I truly appreciate knowing this man, and here is the reason and the reference.
With our night at the tables behind us, we were ready just to do it again. That's when I came to know my African friend. That's how I came to know another good friend.
So that's where all this comes from, and I don't regret that reference at all, and it should be viewed that way. I also got to spend a day with Nakatomi Tony while Mrs. TRG was at the beach. We ran around town, lost a car for a while, gambled in several casinos at Bubble Crap, Slots, and Blackjack, got to know each other better. I had several great hands go my way. I had tables go my way very, very quickly and generate profits. Now, a great little side note here is that I didn't have a car since I flew in. Tony did. He did the driving. But as we got ready to leave Tropicana, I said, here, use this card. And we used my Caesars Diamond card to comp the parking. Then we stopped down at Oceans, and as we were leaving, I said, here, use ECE's card. And we comped the parking. Then we got to Hard Rock, and my card from the Mirage tier match in Las Vegas is a gold Unity card, and it wouldn't scan, and she tried several times, but since it was the correct color and level, we got to park there on a comp as well. Look, none of it amounts to a lot of money, but they are comps, and comps keep the cost of doing business down. And certainly, Mitch, we will be happy to have the dialogue about why I shouldn't have used ECE's card, etc., etc., etc. A great set of trips, both a quick car trip to Casino One, despite the rough beginning, and a wonderful trip to Atlantic City. Great friends to spend time with everywhere we went. But also a set of trips that show it's not always sunshine, roses, and unicorn. If you're going to walk this path, you've got to go through the bad sometimes to get to the good. Sometimes the gambling gods put it on impossible, and sometimes they put it on easy. And boy, easy is a lot of fun. We're going to adjourn to the virtual VIP lounge next. I've got a great Borgata story to finish things up with today.
A little bit of the bubbly.
Welcome to the most must-listen-to segment in casino podcasting, the virtual VIP lounge. And our lounge is open, where we have the best virtual everything virtually all the time. The best virtual adult beverages, the best virtual still and sparkling water, amazing virtual artisanal handcrafted soda and pop, the best virtual buffet. I understand we have virtual Wagyu beef sliders today, and that they are excellent. At least that's what T-Rex tells me. Help yourself. If you can, press pause, pour yourself a drink, and join me. VIP lounges are great places for storytelling and meeting new friends. I'm a bit off brand today. It's early. Got to take on that world when you're an adult. It's no cliche. It's the truth. I'm getting an early start and having a protein shake. But I got a great story for you to wrap up episode 121. A really great story. Mrs. TRG, when we were in Atlantic City, had a fair amount of free slot play generated from using the MGM credit card, which is a wonderful little side benefit from using the MGM credit card just to buy our normal weekly gas and groceries kind of stuff. The free slot play keeps adding up, and when we're on these trips, then we can stop by an MGM property and spin a bunch of free money through the machines, enjoy the experience, and take out the cash by using TRG Slot Strategy 1, which you can download from the website in the Fred section as an ebook, Casino Combat Slot Tactics. So we go out to Borgata. It's Sunday. It's the opening day of the NFL. We play our free slot play. We make some money. We go get some blackjack in while we're there. The football games are just getting ready to start about 1 o'clock. We're waiting to buy in. It's a $25 3-2 blackjack table with no mid-shoe entry. Really nice rules. Really more than happy to play at Borgata anytime and all the time. And so we're waiting, and as we're waiting, we're sitting at the last part of the table, the last two spots. There's a gentleman sitting at the first spot, and he's rebuying for $300. And the money's on the table, and the checks are put out on the table, all the green chips, and the dealer is saying, sending 300 rebuy, spot 1. Sending 300, spot 1, rebuy on a card. Sending 300, spot 1, sending 300 with a card, rebuy. And nobody's validating. That's what's got to happen here. The pit boss has to come over and check the money, check the chips, and tell her she can send the money to spot 1. And eventually, after an overly long period of time, pit boss comes over, fun guy, jovial guy, and he says, "What are you doing? Is this for Clark?" And she says, "Yeah." And he goes, "Look, You know how to count to 300. Clark knows how to count to 300. I'm watching football. Don't bother me with the easy stuff. I'm watching football. And she goes, he goes, you and Clark could figure that out without me. You did not need me for that. Don't bother me. I'm watching football. And he's joking. He's not being completely serious, but he kind of wants to watch football. So fast forward. A couple shoes later, we get to the end of a shoe. Gentleman's waiting to come in the middle seat, and he's going to buy in for $600. Dealer puts it all out on the table, counts all the money, checks to make sure they're not counterfeit, and we're doing the same thing again. Check change 600. Check change 600 with a card. New player, $600. Check change 600. At this point, I said to her, is the pit boss a man of his word? And I think she took the question a bit wrong. And she said, oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, he's a very honest man. And I said, okay, Clark, do you see $600 there? And now sitting at first base, Clark smiles. He knows where I'm going. He says, yes, I do. And I said, I also see $600 there. Let's take him at his word. Send out the 600. I will take responsibility for all this. And I say in my overly loud voice, sending 600, all green, center field on a card. Now that's a voice our pit boss isn't used to hearing. We start the hand. He comes over fairly quickly, having finished what he was doing. And he's like, what was that? And I said, you were watching football. You told us to take care of it. Clark and I both counted the $600. I sent 600 green to the man at center field. His card is right there. And he looks at me, and he looks at Clark, and he looks at the dealer, and he says, thank you very much for doing what I asked you to do. Once again, being a little aware. I've told you in the past, the rules are the rules. In this case, the rule is the pit boss needed to come check the money. But the pit boss had told us we could and should break the rules. You can't break the rules. Until you realize that in the right situation you can, and this was one of those situations. Please tip your waitresses, tip your bartenders, tip your dealers. If you have a host, tip your host, but don't tip away your wins. I have spoken. Everything you heard here is true from a certain point of view. In 10 years, we might find out I was wrong about all of this. It's time for leaving, and I hope you understand I was born a rambling man. Love it, hate it, it don't matter. Please share with your family and friends. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for the gift of your time. And here is the best part of the podcast, the Casino Combat Blues.
Hi, I'm here to pick up my son Milo.
There's no Milo here.
Who picked up my son from school?
Streaming only on Peacock.
I'm gonna need the name of everyone that could have a connection.
You don't understand. It was just the 5 of us.
So this was all planned.
What are you gonna do? I will do whatever it takes to get my son back.
I honestly didn't see this coming. These nice people killing each other.
All Her Fault. A new series streaming now, only on Peacock.
Did you know that parents rank teaching financial literacy as the toughest life skill? That's where Greenlight comes in, the debit card and money app made for families. With Greenlight, you can send money quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and track spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn how to earn, save, and spend responsibly, while parents have peace of mind knowing smart money habits are being built. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Spotify.
You should probably play alone. I know the house has that advantage, but that's part of the thrill. If we follow the core concepts, the chips begin to spill. So baby, here's your player's card. Put your bankroll in your hand. Use just some of that money now. Do it just the way we planned. Just follow the core concepts, and you could win several grand. Well, it's good if it goes down like that. Don't have to play to lose. It's gambling as a business, the Casino Combat Blues. Casino Combat Blues.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I don't know if you've heard, but Mint's premium wireless is $15 a month. But I'd like to offer one other perk. We have no stores. That means no small talk. Crazy weather we're having. No, it's not. It's just weather. It is an introvert's dream. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.